Okay. Hi, Esme. I just wanted you to introduce yourself and give us some information about where you live, and your circumstances, and just, yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi, I'm Esme. I am currently living in San Diego, which is like one of the border cities. So we're pretty close to like TJ and stuff like that. I actually live in like a small town in northern San Diego County. It's like called Escondido. Not many people know about that, so that's why I'm like just say I'm from San Diego, but we're pretty close to like the border. My situation it's I'm currently undocumented. I am a DACA recipient, which is like I have a work permit and I am protected from deportations. That's what my status is. And then my mom is actually an illegal immigrant right now, and my dad is not here. He's in TJ.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, my mom and my dad, they were here for well, my dad came first. He was here like since 2001 before I think yeah, it was before I was born, but that same year cuz I was born in September. I'm pretty sure he came like before that. And then in 2002 is when I came and then my mom came as well after I came. So, yeah.
Mm.
We ended up in the border town of Escondido, close to the border. Yeah, and we haven't moved from there since. So,
Awesome. Thank you, for telling us that. So, why did your parents decide to come to the US?
well, like a lot of people come for like I know there's a lot of reasons. Some people come seeking asylum and like things like that. But I know my dad, he wanted to look for a better job. I know that he heard that there was like better job opportunities over here.
Mhm.
And then like he wanted to bring me and my mom over here too, just so that, the whole like giving us a better future and stuff like that.
Right.
So I know that he saw like more opportunities over here, so he brought his family over here.
Wow. That's that's awesome. So now I want to get into more like personal questions. I just wanted to ask you if, or like if you or your parents have ever felt mistreated or like been discriminated against because of their status or because of immigrating here to the US, and like how do you feel personally in your being Latinx in your community? Do you feel supported? Do you feel discriminated against? Do you feel like kind of in between?
So like around my community specifically, since my town, I feel like it's predominantly like Latino, like our community is very Latino dominated.
Mm.
Um a lot of things like I guess it's just kind of like a norm here to like it's not unusual I guess to say that you find people from that are undocumented as well and that have come here from like their countries like my coworkers. I know this lady, she's from Guatemala, I'm pretty sure, and I always give her rides because she doesn't she doesn't have a car and she can't drive and like she
Right,
doesn't have a license. She can't get all of those things because of the fact that she's undocumented, you
right.
know? So I always like give her rides, and then like my roommates, they're from Honduras. Like they're also well, one of them's actually he came seeking asylum. So like I'm very happy for him because he literally just got accepted, and it's like he's on the path to getting like citizenship and stuff.
Oh, that's
So like it
awesome.
just makes me so happy seeing like people near me get like closer to citizenship. So what's it called? Yeah, I guess for near me, what I feel like is very targeting is that they have like what is it called? Checkpoints.
Mhm.
Um a lot around here, and sometimes they're like just the DUI checkpoints, DUI and driver license checkpoints, but sometimes they're also border patrol checkpoints just because they're trying to like get undocumented people, and that's when you feel like very targeted because I know I have some of my family, actually my aunt and my cousins, they moved to Georgia, and when I was there visiting over like was it Christmas break, I was like I don't know why I randomly thought about, I was like I wonder if they have checkpoints here, and I realized that they don't. It's only because it's like so far away, and just because we're so close to the border, they kind of like target these communities
Right.
trying to get like undocumented people, and then like get more people that way, which is that's something just thought about recently when I went to visit.
So do you live
Yeah,
in, like, constant fear of or do your parents live in constant fear of driving and then there's just a checkpoint and you can't avoid it? Like, what do you do in those
yeah.
situations?
So so in that case, like I remember, so my mom, she got her license because she has an I-10. So she was able to get her license from California, right? But my dad, he didn't want to, just because he's very like, I know, and people like, I get why, it's not, I know some people are afraid to tell their information to the government, and
Right.
like in fear of like them tracking them down, and
Of
like,
course.
the fear of getting deported.
Mhm.
So my dad was always very skeptical about that. When in California, I think it was in 2016, they said that people who were undocumented could get like driver's licenses. Like I'm pretty, it's something passed. I'm not too sure. I'm not very informed on that. But my mom, she was able to get her driver's license because of that. So um she got her license, and like she was telling my dad to get his, but my dad was like, no, like what if they like come looking for me, and stuff like that. So my mom, she was able to get her driver's license. And I remember this one time she came to pick me up from work, and we were on the way home, and then there was a checkpoint and we didn't realize it. So then we had to pass by through it. So I was just like started panicking. But like I have DACA. So I was like, I don't think they can do anything to me,
Mhm.
because I'm protected from deportations because of that, because I have DACA. So I was just scared for my mom. I was like, oh my gosh, like what if they like ask her for her documents and she doesn't have any? But we actually, it was just a DUI and license checkpoint. So that's not like, that was like first time going through a checkpoint, and like it was
Mhm.
very scary.
Well, of course,
So I
yeah.
was just like scared for her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what are we gonna do? Like, things like that. But it was just a license checkpoint. So, and luckily she did have her license. So, like, they just checked her license, and like, they like let us go. But like, they didn't ask for any additional documents. But, that's always like in the back of my head. What if it was like a border patrol checkpoint, and like, that would have been it, It's kind of like
Mhm.
a what if question. Like, we got, we got lucky, but still like not everyone's always so lucky. Some people don't have licenses, and that's how you get pulled over, and then they take away your car, and that's how they find out you're undocumented if you don't have a license. And it just goes downhill from there. So I was just like thankful that my mom did have a license at that point, but I know not everyone's as lucky to be able to get their licenses. So yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to move on to, like, discussing some misconceptions or assumptions you think that people have about the Latinx community and immigration specifically.
Yeah. So I know I actually took a Soc class last quarter. It was intro to sociology, and we had like an option of watching like these videos that were like, oh, of like common, I guess, stereotypes or misconceptions about certain communities.
Mhm.
And one of them was the Latinx community. And I that's the one I chose to do it on. And then a lot of it was on like media portrayals of and like the Latina community. So it was like it showed videos of like criminals and like doing drugs and stuff like that. Like the stereotypes of Latinos.
Right.
So I guess and then like they asked us to like respond to these like misconceptions, and then the first thing that came to mind was how the misconception that Latinos don't, or like undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes, which is not very much not true, because literally like we can't work without a work permit. And like for me personally, like still undocumented even though I have DACA. Like I have no, DACA isn't illegal status. I'm just protected. That's
Yeah,
what. And I have the, like I don't have a green card. I don't have like citizenship. I don't have anything like that. So I'm still undocumented. Like I don't have any legal documents. So and I'm still paying taxes because I work and I'm using my work permit. So,
of course.
um, yeah, and like I know you can use your ITIN to pay taxes. You can do so many other ways that you can use to pay your taxes, which is, I was like, that's a common misconception that um undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes because we don't have a social, but there's other ways that you can pay taxes without having a social security number,
Mhm.
and then like another misconception is that like we're taking away jobs, right? But like a lot of the jobs, like the predominantly um undocumented community where they reside is in like agriculture, and I'm watching all these videos where it's like they get paid by the bunch, or like how much they are actually able to cultivate. And I just see them like running, carrying these big like baskets of food, running just because they get paid by the bunch. They don't get paid by the hour like we do.
Yeah.
Like they get paid
Wow.
by how much they can do a day, and that's very like hard because I just see them running and they're just it's very tiring and hardworking, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't think those are jobs that they would willingly want to steal, like it's not
Definitely.
they're just jobs that people don't want to do,
Yeah.
and they have no other choice than to like take over them just because they need some form of income. You don't even get paid like minimum wage, you get paid by like how much you do. So yeah, those are like, I guess those are the top two that come to mind.
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds like they're, like, immigrants are a really, really strong and important backbone for this country, and I think a lot of people don't understand that and don't realize that, so, thank you for sharing that. Also, for the last part of this conversation, I wanted to ask how you think or why you think that this is harmful to your community, or just the Latinx community in general, and like especially media portrayal. Like, how has that been really harmful to immigration and the general public's idea and misconceptions about immigration?
Yeah, so especially recently, I felt like this was very prominent during the Trump administration,
Hmm.
just because he would mention things like Mexicans are like rapists, criminals, they're drug like cartels and stuff like that. Just making these very, very generalized statements and about like Mexicans specifically, or like just Latinos. And I feel like that made a lot of people like kind of support his statements blindly, and they didn't really like look into it or like anything like that, just because your president said that, like that means it must be true, like, or things like that. And also with the whole building the wall thing, that was very the whole like Trump presidency was a very scary time, just
Hmm.
because of the agenda that he ran on. It was very anti-immigrant, and like he was trying to do like all of the like kids in the cages and stuff like that, the separation of the families, like those things were very, very affecting to the Latino community and like the undocumented community. Like we're like, I don't know, like these things were just very prominent, especially during his presidency, just because he made it very public, and like he would speak out about it, and like the media would cover it, and you would see, oh, Mexicans are like drug dealers and like rapists and criminals and like stuff like that, and those generalized statements would get put onto like everyone. It's just
Yeah.
because of the how the media portrays it, and then like I don't know, it was just very, very scary during that time, and then especially towards the end of his um like presidency. I know during, I don't know, those couple months, like in my community specifically, like I remember it was like um there were these, I don't know, there was like these rumors that there was like members of the KKK coming around to my city, and like just to be careful, don't be walking out at night, because something can happen.
Hmm.
And it's just very, very scary, just because that's very close to home. Like I was living here during when those like white supremacist groups were here, and like they were attacking, by like people that were just walking on the street.
Yeah.
And I know that they were here because they know that Escondido is predominantly like undocumented and Latinos.
Hmm.
Um I'm not sure about other communities specifically, but that's just mine. And then, especially since we're so close to the border, again, like I said, like the whole building the wall thing, that's very, very close to here. And I don't know, those just media portrayals make um my community and like the undocumented community and like the Latino community, they make it seem that everyone's bad, but in reality, like no, we're just our people are just trying to make a living out here. Like we're working
Hmm.
the jobs that people don't want to do. We're doing like some, like me, like I'm getting an education just because I'm trying to get like my family I like a better future, like trying to break
Yeah.
those like stereotypes, but people don't take
Yeah.
that into consideration when these ideas are being portrayed by the media constantly over and over, and by the being it's like the same words being associated, like Mexicans with like criminals. You know, those
Mhm.
the word association is very, very harmful to communities because once you think Mexican, what are you gonna think? Because of the media, you're gonna think criminal, you know, or like
Yeah.
Latino or undocumented. You're gonna think that just because those words are constantly associated, that's the first thing that's gonna come to mind. And like I feel like especially for like the younger generation, like growing up with this is how you will perceive Mexicans like the rest of your life. You know,
Yeah.
like the younger generation watching the news with their parents. Like, let's say, like they see someone said, like, "Oh, Mexicans are criminals" or whatever. If you hear that constantly, like while you're growing up, that's how you're going to be raised with that mentality, and it's just very harmful to the community because that's how we're viewed, and it's not true. Like most of the time it's not even true, it's just what it's portrayed. And
Mhm.
like they pick and choose what to portray. Like they don't you don't see like Mexicans being successful. They don't I haven't seen like undocumented immigrants being successful being portrayed in the media. No, they only choose to pick and choose the bad parts of like um undocumented immigrants just to make us seem like bad people, even though um we're only out here just trying to get a better future, you know, more opportunities, you know, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, just like the media is very, very like harmful to our community just because of the way that they choose to portray our community. And yeah, I guess it also depends on which media source you consume, but for the most part it's very, very like biased towards like against the immigrant community just because like you know the word association and things like that. So
Right.
yeah, that's how it's like very, very harmful to my community
Mm.
and like the way we're viewed. And then like I don't know, it's just very unfair as well because it's like once we get citizenship, a lot of people might like dismiss the fact that they were undocumented in the first place, you know? Once they go like, oh, this like undocumented immigrant that got citizenship, she like graduated from like law school or something like that. And like they're
Mhm.
not no longer viewed as undocumented. They might be viewed as a citizenship, like a citizen because they got their citizenship, you know?
Yeah.
And like those they're often dismissed because they don't want media or like the general public to see that undocumented people are working hard to get their citizenship. Like even though they might be working like this agricultural jobs, like on this side they might be working to get like a green card or like a work permit or something on the side. Like right now I'm like um I'm waiting, hopefully, like the Biden administration, I heard that they was working to give DACA recipients green cards, you know, and that's very
Mm.
like hopeful for me. Yeah, like
Yeah.
these things like on the side, and like I just recently renewed my DACA last year too.
Mm.
So like it's not like I'm just like working. I'm also trying to like get citizenship, you know? And
Yeah.
like that's not always portrayed in the media, which is like they don't I don't know, they just like kind of dismiss all of the good things that are coming out of the undocumented community and they just decide to focus on the negative things, you know?
Yeah, to try and, like, write their narrative that they want to portray in the media, that yeah,
Yeah.
that is it's extremely harmful and unfair. So I agree with everything that you just said. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your family's
Yeah, of course.
story and just bringing awareness to this topic that I think a lot of people don't think about or understand or know much about. This whole podcast series is we're really trying to bring awareness and education to the masses because a lot of us, since we're not in that community, don't know everything about it. And it's like that this is how we're going to get the story out and this is how we're going to normalize conversations like this is by talking to people who are in that community and really understand and are going through these issues. And we need to join together and really try to help each other out because we're all living on this planet and we're all human beings and nobody deserves to be left behind and no one deserves to be mistreated. So thank you again so much,
Yeah,
Esme.
anytime. No problem.